Let's welcome back our co-host. He is a retired admiral, former Berkeley County Commission president, board member at Hospice of the Panhandle, and a frequent co-host on this program, Mr. Bill Stubblefield.
Good morning, Rob. Great to be here as always.
Well, Bill, it's wonderful to have you.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let it pass. Go on.
Excuse me. He is a reformed school teacher. Dabbles in Republican politics now.
Out of the red corner.
Out of the red corner. Mike Allers Jr. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, good morning. Good to be here.
Good to have you with us as well. As we move into the 9 o'clock hour, we welcome via telephone first the director of the Stubblefield Institute, named after the person sitting directly across from me, Bill and Bonnie Stubblefield. Ashley Horst, who joins us via telephone. Ashley, good morning. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And in studio, a judge on the Intermediate Court of Appeals, Dan Greear. Dan, good to see you here.
Good to see you. Good to be here in person.
And because you can never have enough Ashleys in one segment.
Never.
The Chief Deputy Clerk of the ICA, Ashley Deem. Ashley, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
As I understand it, WVU, I'll have to see if I have it backwards. Law school or undergrad?
WVU undergrad, UK law school.
Gotcha. All right, got it there. And Ashley Horst, back to you via telephone. You've got something coming up in the very near future that'll involve these folks. What are you doing there at the Stubblefield Institute?
Absolutely. So we are very excited to be hosting Judge Greear and Ashley on September 16th, which is next Tuesday. They will be hosting the West Virginia Intermediate Court of Appeals in person at Shepherd University, and this is an opportunity for members of the public and for our students to actually attend court sessions that are being held in the Frank Arts Center, and the cases are being argued in real time. And Ashley and Judge Greear can give you a little more information about what that will look like.
So just to be clear, these are actual cases. This isn't some type of mock court situation or scenario. These are actual cases that will be heard and decided.
That's exactly right.
Correct.
Just like if they were held in our courtroom in Charleston, like they are most of the time, but these are actual oral arguments with actual lawyers and actual litigants and actual disputes, and it's a great opportunity for students, the community, people up here in the Eastern Panhandle that might not have the opportunity to come down and see us in Charleston very often, but just a chance to see the judiciary at work. And an appellate court at work, which is something that you don't have an opportunity to see every day.
What types of cases does the ICA hear?
We hear 4 types of cases. We hear all civil appeals, just regular lawsuits. We hear family law appeals, anything relating to divorce, child custody, child support, those types of things. We hear administrative law appeals, such as a DEP fine against a company or something like that that's handled administratively. And then finally, workers' compensation. We get all of the appeals out of the workers' compensation system. I think all of our cases this week are civil. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
All 4 that we're going to be arguing next week are all civil cases that came up through circuit courts at various parts of the state, and those appeals of those cases are going to be heard here next week.
No criminal cases, correct?
Our court does not have jurisdiction of criminal cases. That's one of the things when we were created 3 years ago, the legislature wanted those to bypass us, and we get the other stuff.
Do those who go through the ICA still have the option of appealing to the state Supreme Court?
Absolutely. Every case that we decide, the litigants can choose to appeal to the Supreme Court if they desire. Interestingly, we've got about 3 years of statistics now, and about 20% of our cases are appealed to the Supreme Court, but 80%, once we render a decision, that's it. That's the end, and the case is over, and the matter's resolved. So for 80% of those cases, you're looking at the time frames that it takes us to decide a case for the Supreme Court. When in those 80% of the cases, there's a significant reduction in time and cost when the case is ended through our court versus the old system of going up to the Supreme Court.
Any idea what the percentages are on the other 20% as they get to the state Supreme Court in terms of a reversal of a decision?
I don't have the exact number, but we've of all of the cases that that we've sent up there, and it's been hundreds. We've had, I think, 13 that have been something other than affirmed. So we're in the 90% range somewhere. Can't give you an exact figure, but over 90% of our cases, historically at least, have been affirmed once they go to the Supreme Court.
Before this intermediate level was established, there were many concerns about the state Supreme Court being overloaded and that an intermediate court level was necessary to siphon off some of the workload from the state Supreme Court. Has that happened?
I think statistically it has, and in the most, I think the most persuasive argument in that regard, there's an attorney in Charleston by the name of Tom Herney with Jackson Kelly, the firm, and he has a law review article that's going to be published that he was kind enough to let me review. And interestingly, since the creation of our court, the time it takes the Supreme Court to get the cases and make decisions has been reduced. In other words, before there was about a 17-month average that it took from a circuit court decision to the Supreme Court making a decision. That's been reduced by a month and a half to 2 months. So the Supreme Court is getting to cases quicker and deciding them quicker, and I certainly think the fact that we're taking some of that load off of their shoulders has got to be one of the main reasons for that.
Mr. Stubblefield.
Yeah, good morning, Judge Ashley. Great for you to join us today. Going back to kind of first principles, the intermediate court has 3 members, and one member is a name well known in the Eastern Panhandle with Maria Lawrenson, who's a co-host, and Judge Lawrenson. Now, Judge Lawrenson's brother, Charlie, serves, does he not?
That's right.
And there's 3 members. Who's the third judge?
Ryan White is the third member of our court, and he's actually the first member of our court that was elected. When our court was created, the 3 original judges were appointed by Governor Justice at the time, myself, Charlie Lawrenson, and Tom Scar. Tom Scar was appointed to a 2-year term. He decided not to run for re-election, and Ryan White was elected in the spring of 24. My seat will be up in the spring of 26 for election, and Judge Lawrenson will be up for election in the spring of 28. But those are the 3 judges.
And you are an appeals court, so how does that differ from the initial circuit court?
That's an excellent question. In an appellate court, it's not like on TV where you see people calling witnesses and introducing exhibits. All of that's done at the circuit court level or the family court level. So when a case gets to us, we don't take evidence, we don't hear witnesses, but we have the availability of all that evidence that was introduced below, whether a transcript or documentary evidence. We review all that. We review all of the legal briefs, the writings that the lawyers submit, and then we can either decide the case or, like these cases next week, we can request oral argument, which is when we have the attorneys come in. They get to make their case to us verbally, and we get to ask them questions and find out more information about the case. But that's what you'll see next week, is us having a discussion with the attorneys to allow us to find out more about their positions and what they think the outcome of the case should be.
What is the determinant factor that you call lawyers in for an oral representation, oral position, a presentation, as opposed to not having the lawyers there? What determines that factor?
Well, what we do, our system, when a case comes in, Ashley's office is the first level of making sure that it gets to the right place, that it's filed in our court appropriately. Then it goes to a group of attorneys that's called our Office of Counsel, and they look at the case and they'll actually make recommendations to us as judges as what we should do with that case. We'll then turn it over to our personal clerks. We each have 3. They'll take a look at it. Then the 3 of us will get together and we'll decide, do we have enough information right now to decide this case? And in about 90% of our cases, we do. And we can render a decision based on the submissions. In about 10% of the cases, we decide that these are complicated enough that there's some unresolved issues that we need to bring these attorneys in to ask some questions and for them to give us some more information. So that's a decision that the 3 of us make jointly, and we're very deferential. If one of us wants to hear a case at oral argument, we're pretty deferential and say, okay, let's bring them in. But it's totally up to us as 3 judges whether we feel there's enough information in the written submissions to get to a decision. If it's a very important case, if it's a new point of law, some undecided area of law, we will usually bring them in for oral argument just to make sure we fully understand it and try to get it right.
So we're even more privileged for next week, having what you would call the more complicated, the more involved cases.
That's exactly right. Yeah, these are ones that we thought were significant enough. Let's talk about them a little bit more.
Now, for next week, do you have to have tickets or have to be advance registered, or can anybody just show up?
I'll let Ashley Horst answer that, but I believe it's just open to the public. If you want to come, I believe you'll be welcomed, but I'll defer to Ashley for the specifics on that.
Absolutely. So we are asking people to register, and you can find that information on our website, stubblefieldinstitute.org, and that's simply so we can get a head count. So doors open at 9:15, and then the colors will be presented at 9:55, so that way arguments can start promptly at 10. So we do ask people to, get there a little early, make sure you can get a seat. The other benefit to registering is that the court did provide us with a packet of information that outlines the cases that will be heard and also goes over some terminology that you may not be familiar with. So we can send that to you in advance so you have a little bit of time to prepare for what you'll see on that day.
And again, Ashley, the physical location of this will be?
This is at the Frank Art Center Theater at Shepherd University.
So which will house maybe 200, 250 people, Ashley, is that right?
Currently, we have about 200 people registered, and that includes several classes from our public and private high schools in Berkeley and Jefferson County, but we can hold up to about 400.
Mike Gallers Jr.
So I think this is an amazing opportunity for a lot of students to come and see you guys in action. I think that's really, really cool. What would you say to students right now that are thinking about, and this could be a question for both of you, reflecting on your individual paths to the law, what would you say to students that are maybe interested in pursuing a career in law or just simply have an interest in it, that is this the event to kind of spark their fire?
I think absolutely, and I'll let Ashley add to it, but I absolutely think this is a great opportunity to see whether that is something that would interest you as a career. My personal experience, there's no lawyers in my family. It's not something I was exposed to. Back when I went to school, we had junior high. We didn't have middle schools. We had junior high. But in junior high in Kanawha County, we had this thing called Sheriff's Camp, which was kind of a junior high version of Boys State, Girls State.
Okay.
In the summer, where you go there for a week and learn about government and civics. And they had actually brought in the county prosecutor and another attorney, and they did a mock trial. Not a real trial, but they did a mock trial. And I was intrigued by that. I'd never been exposed to it. I said, that is what I want to do. And I did, and that sort of sparked my interest. So I think this is absolutely something that can expose students to maybe something they've never really been exposed to before, and maybe inspire them for a career path that they hadn't really thought of. So even if you don't think you're interested, I think this is an excellent opportunity just to come out and watch a little bit of the judicial process, see what attorneys do, and see if it's something that interests you and inspires you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, appellate work is such a different niche that you can kind of look at here in person that they might not have otherwise had the opportunity to. So they may love it when they see it. It's also a great opportunity for them to get to interact with the judges, the students. Afterward, we'll have the opportunity to have lunch with them, but also after each argument, there's a question and answer session. And so the lawyers arguing the case, the judges will actually leave the bench. And so it's kind of one-on-one time between the audience and the students with the arguing attorneys to ask questions just like you just did about their personal path to the law, but also maybe some questions about the cases they just heard.
So this is super cool. So the cases are ongoing. They're real.
Right.
But then if the judge leaves the room, the floor could be opened up and it could be.
That's exactly the idea. Yes.
Okay, that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception that maybe students have, or even regular people have about like the judicial system?
I think the TV shows convince you that it goes a little faster than it does. I remember when I was, college age, high school age, L.A. Law was the popular show. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm there with you, Chuck.
But it was amazing. All those cases got brought up and resolved in an hour. It was like they started and ended it. And this process takes years. From the time a lawsuit gets started or a criminal case to go through a trial, that's going to take a number of months, if not years. And then the appellate process, with us, it takes about 9 months. With the Supreme Court, it takes about 15, 16 months. But none of these things are quick. I think the common misconception is just how long and drawn out this process can be. And certainly one of the things we've tried to accomplish, and I think we have, is short circuit that just a little bit. But I think a common misconception is this takes a lot longer than people think.
So the students are going to be aware that this is not going to be solved in a half an hour episode.
That's exactly right. One of the things that'll probably frustrate them when they hear the arguments, we're not going to come out and announce our decision. I mean, we're going to talk about it as judges, and we'll write an opinion, and it'll be out by November or December. But literally, if the students come and hear these cases, they may have to wait till November to find out what we actually did. But that might be a little frustrating for them. But that's how the system works.
There'll be a lot of students there, but knowing Shepherdstown or this area, there's going to be a lot of post students there as well. Going to be a lot of adults in attendance.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we hope so.
I think Bill and I might show up.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. What the three cases you'll be hearing on appeal? What are they? Can you tell us? Can you give us a little teaser?
I can't talk about them in too
Okay.
much depth. Ashley can probably give it a little more depth than I. But just broadly speaking, the first case is a case involving. It's an interesting case. It's called in the newspapers. It was called the Rocking Chair Rebellion, but it was a protest of a pipeline going in, and the issue is whether. Trespass. The people were sued for trespass, and the issue is whether that was an appropriate lawsuit or not.
Sounds like a Cracker Barrel protest. That's what I was like.
Rocking chair.
The rocking chair. Rebellion.
The second case is about an expungement case, someone trying to get a criminal conviction expunged, and it's a statutory interpretation case of how the statute should be applied. And the last two cases are both related. They arise out of a chemical spill that happened at the Natrium plant back in 2016, I believe. And we have the plant and the insurance company with various disputes arising out of that chemical leak.
Fascinating, all three of them. So you get a wide range, a wide spectrum of issues through this.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. A question was asked about parking. Ashley Horst, more so than this. You, Ashley. Where's parking? How's parking been handled, Ashley?
So we are working with Shepherd University Police Department that they know we are going to have a large group of visitors on campus, and so they have suspended ticketing for the day. So you can park in whatever parking lot works for you. There are several lots right close to the Frank Center.
The school will be in session that day, is that correct?
That is correct.
So it'll be competing with the students, so it'll still be pretty tight parking. So
Ashley, what was the...
Why,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's why we suggest people get there closer to 9:15, so you give yourself a little bit of time to get parked and make your way into the building. I do want to let people know that with court security, you cannot take bags into the theater, and so we do recommend people leave their bags in their vehicles. If you cannot do that, if you're walking or if you're a student and you're in between classes, we will have a bag check available to you.
shuttle, is it going to be any shuttle service at all?
Typically, the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority does run buses throughout the campus, and the schedule for that can be found on Shepherd University's website.
Will they make special shuttle trips for this event?
They are not planning to do that now.
What was the process like in getting this event to come to Shepherd University, Ashley? Horst? I got two Ashleys.
Honestly, it was really simple. The ICA does this twice a year at different universities throughout the state, and so they've not been to the Eastern Panhandle before. This is their first time with us, and they reached out, I believe it was last fall, so this has been a year in the making, and it's been a great process. They've done a site visit, so this is their second time here with us, and it's been a wonderful collaboration.
Can I just say something
Yeah,
about that? We've worked with several colleges, throughout the state doing this, and I'm telling you, the cooperation we've got from Ashley and the people here at Shepherd has been outstanding. I mean, they've gone above and beyond in accommodating us and promoting this thing, and we think this is going to be a tremendous event. But they absolutely have been as responsive and as excited to do this as anybody we've dealt with. So I can't compliment Ashley and the people at Shepherd enough on how great they've been to work with, and I'm sure Ashley would second second that.
Absolutely. It really has. I think we made our first actual visit here in January, and Ashley and her wonderful assistant Allison, we've talked probably at least a couple times a week since then, and they've even gone so far as to deliver our parking passes for our visit this week to our hotel rooms. So they were very kind,
That's
and
very
very
nice.
gracious.
So this will be a recurring thing. Like if this is successful,
Well, we go to 2 colleges a year. That's been the process so far. I think we've done this may be our 6th college, 6th ICA on campus. The ICA hears cases in terms. So there's a fall term and a spring term, and Shepherd is our fall term visit. And so yes, I mean we very well could come back to Shepherd sometime in the future.
What have the crowds been like in the other stops that you've made? Are they schooled in the ways of being in the audience of a trial?
Yeah. We've had we've worked with the students and the colleges pretty well, and I think we've had good behavior, let's say, from the audience. We
they get popcorn and stuff.
haven't had any problems.
Yeah.
The Jerry Springer show?
No cheering, no clapping, none of those things.
So
but
this
it's
is not
been
like a
great.
Judge Steve Harvey.
No, not at all.
That's-
Not at all. Sort of the opposite of that, actually. Yeah.
I will say that this is the highest registration numbers we've ever had a
Oh,
week out from
cool.
Shepherd. So we appreciate the college on that front too.
As far as the demeanor of the audience, we did have an incident which actually Horst will, I think, avoid speaking about because it's somewhat of an embarrassment. We had the 2 senators and Hoppy Kercheval.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and the senators did a great job. Hoppy did a great job as master of ceremony. But there was a small disruption at the very first. Someone just trying to make their voice heard, but then they left the stage when asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Joe Manchin handled that great.
I thought Joe Manchin did a great job, as did Senator Capito. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is, Ashley, if you want to run down the particulars, Horst, one more time, particulars of this event and how you can attend, go right ahead.
Absolutely. So this will be held on Tuesday, September 16th, and doors open at 9:15, and the session begins at 10 a.m., and it is at the Shepherd University Frank Art Center Theater, and you can register by going to our website, stubblefieldinstitute.org, and there is a link there where you can register, and once you register, we will send you the packet of information about the court cases that will be heard.
Realistically, what would be the next opportunity for this to return to Shepherd, either Ashley's or Judge Greear?
We're probably getting close to starting to recycle back through, so it'd probably be a 3-4 year cycle, I would guess. I mean, as a ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly not stealing anything from Shepherd and the Stubblefield Institute, but Blue Ridge. Do you do community and technical colleges as well?
Actually, that's a discussion that we've had. I mean, we're still making our way through the 4 years.
Yeah.
But certainly that's a discussion that Ashley and I actually were having yesterday about the possibility to go into some 2 years, because that would be another whole segment of population of students
Sure.
that this kind of thing hadn't reached so far.
Yeah.
Well,
That'd be
let me just tell you this. Before the 2 of you leave town, you have to stop over at Blue Ridge and get to the bakery department. Chef Stephen Weiss is the person in charge of the curriculum there, and he competes on television shows where they have the chefs who compete, and he's won some of those too.
Oh, wow.
And he's involved in some bigger project right now that they can't talk about, but I think it involves a movie, but I'm not sure because nobody's allowed to talk about it. But you haven't lived until you've tasted what they're baking over there, and it's not far from where you're staying.
Well, I tell you what, with that being said, I think we really need to move them up on the agenda.
That's right. We're truly blessed in this area to have 2 phenomenal presidents, Pete Chekovich for Blue Ridge and Mary Hendricks for Shepherd. They're both wonderful people, and they're doing a great job. By the way, Blue Ridge was just recently selected #1 community technical college in the state, #1 by far.
Awesome.
And in the top 300, I think, in the
They're
nation.
paying people off with that food.
I'm telling you, you get that stuff that comes out of the oven that the chef is baking over there and his students. And
Changes your ranking.
it changes everything, doesn't it? Judge, I'm going to send you out with a little memory. Can you remember this theme song?
Oh, yeah.
Right, there's your LA
There you
Rock.
go. I like it.
Who's your favorite attorney on that show? Were you an Arnie Becker guy?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Corbin Barrington. How could you not be?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming back.
Hey, thanks
today.
for having us. This was a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to get a great crowd there. As you said, you got tremendous pre-registration. So all the best to you, Judge.
Thank you.
Ashley Deem, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Ashley Horst by telephone. Once again, a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your day, and don't forget about those Blue Ridge Community Technical College baked goods on your way out of town there.